Hi, Kane. This is still Magic of Boot, and we're talking about football, soccer. As we just finished with talking with Euro, there's another major tournament that is just kick-started a few hours ago. Copa America 2021 in Brazil. Uh, did you have the chance to catch up that? And just before going into the Copa America, I should revisit the second game of that World Cup qualifier. That is the round six. We talked a little bit about the preview of the games, and Brazil winning it 2-0, and they're in the first place against Paraguay in Asuncion. Argentina is in second place, draw 2-2 after being 2-0 up within 8 minutes. And Argentina is sitting on 12 points and sitting second. There is a bit of crowd after that. Ecuador is still third with 9 points, and there was a lot of draw from Uruguay. Paraguay just lost to Brazil, and there was a draw. There was Chile was surprisingly drawn against Bolivia. And this is Bolivia's. After 1992, Bolivia have managed not to be beaten in the consecutive matches for second time. So that's a big cheer for them. Peru beating Ecuador basically helped Argentina to retain that second position. Now Peru is on 4th point. Venezuela and Peru, I think it's on same spot, but they're just on the goal difference. But what is interesting is that from that 4th to the 7th or 8th place, there's like 3 points difference. It's really tight. And except Brazil, I mean Brazil probably 6 out of 6 they've won everything. They're probably it's still early, but still safe to say they're going there in the World Cup. Argentina would be very, very disappointed with that draw against Colombia, especially given the circumstances of 2-0 up in 8 minutes. There were some spectators on that ground. They went silent after 7-8 minutes. And then, did you have the chance of seeing any of the games at all?
Not live, but I caught up actually after that game, and like Argentina game was like yeah, it was a good from the Colombian point of view. Like they were beaten down by two, and then they came back from there. That actually, but it's kind of like Argentina's fault that like they didn't kill the game when they had chance, and I would say like it was kind of expect I was kind of expecting it when they were playing like this, like pointless passings and stuff like this.
Oh,
And
I would actually disagree. There is a two-half situation. I think this is the first time Argentina looked like a real threat, and really, although Brazil is winning, they're comfortable. They're like walking into that walking mode, and they're winning it. They don't need to stretch much to win. Uh, there are moments in Brazilian wins that in that moment someone popped up and someone scored, and that's it, and game is managed. It's not spectacular, it's not out of ordinary, but Brazil in quality is probably head and shoulder above of all of those teams. With this coach Lionel Scaloni, Argentina looked like an area of different things, but this is probably, we talked about Giovanni Lo Celso and adding into the midfield and 4-3-3 was working fantastically in the first half. It was like a dream sort of start for them, and it was working fantastic, and Messi dropping down and connecting with those three midfielders. There were chances, and obviously some of the chances, Ospina came up with very good saves, and I think Ronaldo Rueda, who was the coach of Chile, now is in the helm of Colombia. He was too negative to start with. He started with two defensive midfielders, and he left Muriel out of the game. I started with one striker, and it was like more of a 4-5-1 with the help of Cuadrado. And Cuadrado was nicely tackled by both Acuna as well as Lo Celso was giving a little bit of help as well. I thought first half was Argentina was theirs almost perfect, except probably Messi's goal. There were more half chances than and chances were created, and some of the passing was fantastic. But in second half, I think it started with Nicolas Otamendi fouling one time in the penalty box unnecessarily, and I don't still understand why Otamendi is still a starter as a center back for Argentina. I could understand
Exactly.
if there was no other option, but Scaloni prefers him probably for leadership, or I don't know. But if your leader is somehow is a baggage to bear for others, it's a problem. Especially Otamendi looked solid, or Romero was covering for him. Romero scored the goal, first goal, as well as he was rock solid. It was someone in the Twitter was mentioning like Yang and Yin, like one great guy, one not so great guy. Yeah, the jokes apart, but Otamendi was covered by Romero a lot, and then there was the Otamendi challenge, and that gave a penalty away, and then it was 2-1. Muriel slotted it in, and also there was the injury of Emi Martinez. He was taken out in the stretcher, and Marchesín came in. And Marchesín, I remember he was when I was in Mexico, and I saw the Club America fans, and I talked about Marchesín, and they rate him quite well. He's a good keeper. He's playing for Porto, but with Argentina national team, I think he started in Nigeria against Nigeria before that 2018 World Cup, and conceded 4 goals in second half. And whatever he's needed, he conceded again. The second goal he should have. That's a basic save. I couldn't understand why he couldn't save it.
It was actually like Argentina's mess to lose at that time. Like at that point, like I was.
And I was.
It was unbelievable. Like from the point of view of team like Argentina, how they played in the second half.
Well,
you were telling the same thing about like the Netherlands like few minutes earlier.
Exactly. It's fairly similar. I mean, one forward comes in after that one goal, and Romero was probably injured, and that's why he was substituted. So they brought in 2 players, one for Nico Gonzalez. Petzela came in, and Ford came in for Romero. So then there's a switch of the tactical system from 4-3-3 to 5-3-2. While still Montiel and Acuna was playing as support on the midfield, but slowly with Cardona coming in, with Muriel coming in, and also giving away that space to Colombians, and also going back, I thought that was a mistake. And if he was doing that, he didn't have that personnel. If he didn't have, I looked at the substitute bench. He didn't have Guido Rodriguez, who is the only number 5 he had in case he needed. Then he didn't bring on Lisandro Martinez, who was solid against Chile, but he chose Foyt, and Foyt Foyt was responsible against Chile goal as well. That free kick came because he was overexcited and he went up and he committed the foul. And Foyt came in this game in the 94th minute. There's 1 minute to go. He decided to dribble and he lost the ball. And eventually that turned into a goal almost at the last minute. So Foyt is actually dropped from being a starter. Now he's dropped from the squad for the mistake. But then I'm asking myself, is Scaloni too harsh on him and not on Otamendi? Because Otamendi is doing the similar sort of mistake. So you're treating Otamendi differently and Foyt differently. I would have liked to see Foyt in the team, probably not as a starter, but as a young player who would make mistake, you'd understand that a young player would make mistake. But someone as veteran as Otamendi, and that's we know with the Otamendi you cannot rely. That's why Manchester City has shipped him away, and that's why Ruben Diaz came in from Portugal and
Exactly.
looked how Manchester City is rock solid. So I was. I couldn't believe that they considered the goal at the last kick. It was comical. It was like never.
It was like a series of bad decisions and like a bad movements also, like a series of everything, like
Yeah,
those two goals actually, like also it's kind of like represents what Argentina stands now, where Argentina stands
yeah.
now
And
nowadays.
now I'm thinking about this Copa America that is being playing there. There's definitely health issues and stuff like that. Like today, Brazil played Venezuela, and 13 of the Venezuelan team players of the first team players were COVID positive and they couldn't play. So they had to fly
Yeah,
6 or 7 players from home who'd never had practice with this first team. This is their first time together, and they were beaten 3-0. I think it was still a good result for this Venezuelan team, given that they never really played together.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Like how they, like I would say, like they, if they had like 2 3 more days, they would have actually like
yeah,
closed the match actually. Like,
yeah,
how they
and
played and
also the one
yeah,
goal was from
how,
penalty. Penalty was kind of a little bit softer,
yeah,
and I thought the Venezuelan this bunch of players, which is actually the second tier Venezuelan team, still due to COVID, they should be proud of themselves for how they played. I thought Brazil have scored 3 goals, but they didn't look like. At certain point, I feel Neymar is disinterested, and with this Brazilian team, I see the team, and I really looked at who can really compete with them, and then I see Fred in their midfield. I think, okay, this man could be the reason that Brazil could miss out. But then again, no, I'm just joking around. I don't believe Fred is a midfielder that should be starting for Brazil anyway.
actually they don't have any solid number 6 and some number 8.
Yeah,
This is what is actually missing in this Brazil team. Other than that, like playing against team like right now Uruguay, Argentina, any other like big teams,
they're head and shoulder
they're
above. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
they're not in that position to even take on Brazil now.
No, and even
So I
if you
guess
look at the
like it's like
history,
sorry.
if you look at the history, that Spanish flu time when it was supposed to be happening in somewhere else, then it held into Brazil. And Copa America, 5 times Brazil, hold the tournament as a host, and nobody else has won it. 5 times Brazil won it, and I see this tournament and I see there is not really any other team that really can beat them.
Yeah, and it's like in summary we can like say that like it is Brazil's tournament to lose actually.
Exactly. Say
But
for example, some horrible thing happened, or they're going drawn into something and goes into penalty
yeah,
shootout
there
or
are so
something.
many things going on also like politically. So yeah, anything can happen. Like so other than
But
that, like
whatever happens, just I can see only one challenger. I mean, that's still outsider. Argentina could be that challenger. If they don't face Brazil, say in the knockout stage, and somehow Brazil got, somehow they get unlucky and get into some sort of shootout and penalty shootout, and or something happens, some collapse or something. I don't see Brazil really losing it. Otherwise, or Argentina has chance before that. But anything can happen in knockout stage. And I was really looking at this Uruguay team, because other than Argentina, that's the other historical competitor. And it's sad to see the way this team is set up and they've played so far. They haven't really looked good. And I was looking for Maxi Gomez, who looked a fairly good player for me whenever he played for Uruguay. Given that both Cavani and Suarez is aging, and he didn't seem to be in the contention of the head coach as well. So I don't know where the creativity would come, or they still play this ugly sort of brand of football, and but I really
I guess
wish.
we talked about it, like they are still playing like plain 4-4-2 formation, and like trying to get the ball to these
It's
old
getting even
strikers.
worse. It's
And
getting uglier. Like at some point, they going back 4-5-1.
yeah,
Yeah, and like there's almost a disinterest to the game. There's no intention of passing around, no intention of moving. Um, we talk about a lot about tactic and switch when someone is defending and when someone is attacking. But I see this Uruguay team, and almost they're like very very disinterested to move. And if they don't fix that thing, I don't see whatever I've seen these last two games in this World Cup qualifier for them. Although they are very unlucky against Paraguay, that goal should have stand. Uh, but yeah, Uruguay doesn't seem like a team. The only promising team that could do better is Argentina. Uh, and but
I guess I
there's
would say Ecuador also.
well, there's a game going on at this point. It's Ecuador versus Colombia, and I think I was looking at the score line and some of the comments, and someone was saying it's probably the most disgusting thing they have seen in the entire year. So anyway, I haven't seen that. It's just someone else's comment.
Okay.
So yeah, Ecuador can be exciting if they choose to. But I can understand against teams like Colombia or Brazil, they would be more conservative. Um, it is, but when I was looking at the COVID cases that's going up for, say, for example, Venezuelan team, and I heard the Colombian team had COVID positive as well as I believe Peru has 2 or 3 players who's COVID positive. So that brings back to the earlier point that we are making about players and their safety and their health.
And given by the situations in South America, like it's not a. I don't think like it's a good time to arrange a tournament like Copa America. Like, mm,
Yeah, I understand that there's a holding of Sinovac in the as one of the sponsors, and as well as there's lots of politics of Brazilian government and the dictator. He wants to show that Brazil can do it, and CONMEBOL has to pay some bills. There's TV contracts. Uh, they cannot postpone it in the August, because then you'll not get the best of the players. Say for example Neymar or Messi,
yeah.
or the Europe-based player. So yeah, it could have been played at a later date. If they were more sensible, they would have played this World Cup qualifier in this time frame. And probably because the Brazilian cities are not really out of this danger at this point with the COVID, and CONMEBOL has just allowed each team to have as many players as they like to switch from. But things are not that. It's not like you're playing a Sunday league that somebody else is not coming in, so you call your best buddy and just bring him in. The teams has to prepare.
Well, Argentina can call Gabriel Batistuta or some of these guys
Well, he's
back,
yeah, exactly.
probably.
Well, Hernan Crespo is play is a coach of Sao Paulo, so he can play probably.
Oh yeah.
Just joking aside, but it's the team needs time to do some sort of practice, and that's why it's so hard for Venezuelan team. I feel bad for them, how they've managed to play fairly well against this Brazilian team.
Yeah, exactly. Like players, like most of the players are
Yeah,
playing in like a top
it's
league, and they
it's
were.
probably their first. A lot of them is their first cap for the national team.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Solomon Rondon to Rincon to Joseph Mendes. They all are absent. And it's not just about this Brazil game. They would be absent against.
Yeah, like it could happen in any matches. Like
Yeah.
nobody knows.
Yeah.
No, nobody knows.
Exactly. And the format of the game or the tournament is even more kind of funnier. Like you have 5 teams in each group, but
Yeah, exactly.
one would be dropped by playing 4 games. It's more games for the TV broadcaster, and also then there is this quarterfinal of playing from the top to the 4th. So there's a lot of football, and there's a lot of chance of getting more COVID contraction. But I've seen all the squad, and still Brazil looks head and shoulder above all others, and they can probably snooze for 70 minutes and still win it in 20 minutes. That's what Brazil is kind of doing it. Anything else you want to add, or any other exclusion, or any other inclusion, or any other side that we probably have missed?
I don't think so. Like except
Well,
tomorrow.
I probably remember now. The Argentina team has 4 goalkeepers at this point, where other teams have 3 goalkeepers, and they had to keep Franco Armani, although he was not having a very best year in the Copa Libertadores. He just came back. His case is very weird of COVID positive, because he was COVID positive before and then played 1 game for River Plate against Fluminense and considered 3 goals. Then there was the COVID positive test, and he cannot go into the Peru. So Enzo Perez basically was in the outfield player who went to keep the goal. They win that game, so people are saying, okay, Enzo Perez is a better keeper then. Then Armani came back into the Argentina team. He was not contagious, but he was still showing positive. But Scaloni is pushing Armani to be included in the team. I don't know why is that. Is it because of local pressure of the media or something like that? I just have no clue, but or he must be the best singer in that dressing room. Who knows that? There must be a hidden reason.
Well, that's the madness about this Argentine coaches all the time. Like sometimes you see some players who you are not expecting. Every coaches has this sort of players also. Like every coaches kicks out some players which is not like you won't expect, like Walter Samuels and Cambiaso in 2010.
Or Zanetti. They had
Yeah,
Nicolas
Zanetti.
Otamendi in the right back. They conceded 4 goals versus Germany, uh, and then
Also, like,
I can
yeah,
remember the 6-1 against Spain as well. There was Otamendi was playing, so one constant was Otamendi, and he's still their starting centre back over Lisandro Martinez or over. I couldn't believe they even never tried or given a chance to Paulo Mino or someone like who
yeah.
has Champions League experience. And Buendia was not even selected on that team. I was thinking, what's the point of taking this guy?
Also, like,
Is
even
Nicolas
if you could,
Dominguez of
yeah.
Bologna is a better midfielder than Emi Buendia? I don't believe so. Um,
Well, that's the thing about Argentine coach. Like, you can actually like um make fun of it after that. Like
yeah,
Peckerman's decision to
yeah.
um,
There's always a major
yeah,
decision
yeah,
that's
like,
taken.
yeah, they always
But
does
one
this
of
thing.
them
Like, I don't
is
know.
2014. Sabella went without Carlos Tevez, and I just remember that in last week Carlos Tevez has said bye to the football. He officially retired from playing for Boca Juniors, and he's 37 years old at this point, and he had some issues with injuries, and he said that he was giving 120% on the field, and he cannot do anymore because his body doesn't give anymore. So he decided to leave the football legacy behind him. There's quite a bit of controversy and quite a bit of potential and quite a bit of madness around Carlos Tevez. What's your best and worst Carlos Tevez moment?
I guess, well, how can I say, like, so I would say there is this ironic moment when he's like decided to join Man City.
Yes,
that
that changed everything.
that was a blast actually.
Yeah,
But he did well there. But
both of the Manchester's.
both of the
Yeah,
team, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, but worst thing, I guess. Well, best Carlos moments, I would say it was like they conceded already 3 goals against Germany, but only Carlos Tevez was like trying to move the ball forward, and at the time, no matter whatever happens,
You're
I
talking
guess. So
about
that was the
2010 World Cup.
yeah 2010 World Cup
Yes.
against Germany quarterfinal match. So yeah, I could say like that is like as a person he was showing like what he was made of or something like this. Like
He was very talented. There's no doubt
yeah,
about it.
there is no question about that. Like
There's
no,
always question
not
about
so
his
many Argentine
temperament.
players actually like succeeded in the Premier League. He
Yes.
did actually.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
actually very well.
Yeah.
Until the point he said to Mancini that he cannot warm up.
Well, that's the thing actually. Like you would say those are like the worst moments or
Yeah,
like
that's for
I
me the against that Bayern Munich. Uh, uh, was it Bayern Munich? I think against Bayern Munich, Manchester City was playing. Um,
probably I guess.
it probably was. Yeah, it was a high voltage game, and Tevez was left on the bench, and Mancini came in and asked him to warm up, and he said, "I can't. I'm not warming up. I'm not playing if I'm not starting." So there was a bit of drama on there, and Mancini is normally a person that he doesn't like confrontation, so he didn't confront. But
But he had to handle both Tevez and probably Balotelli.
exactly. I don't know how he done that, but yeah, was what a team it was, and what a player Carlos Tevez was. For me, there was 2004 Olympic. I mean, I was first exposed. I think I didn't know that he won that 2003 for Libertadores with Boca, but there's that with that Olympic team, there was a lot of noise around Carlos Tevez as deemed as the next Maradona because there's a lot of similarities between Maradona and him, given that.
In personalities, of course, like
Yeah, and Boca background as
yeah.
well as the background they both came from Islam basically, of the Buenos Aires, and there's Boca connection, and Boca fans used to love them both unconditionally, and that's why there's always Maradona when he was a coach. There was always a slot for Carlos Tevez before anyone, but that goal versus I can't remember who it was. It was probably against Nigeria or Paraguay against Paraguay in the Athens Olympic. That probably is golden moment. He scored that winner for Argentina, and the worst moment is that first of all when he. I think that was the worst moment for me when he had said not to warm up for Manchester City and choose not to play again, because he was very well respected on that dressing room and with the fans, and all of a sudden he was in China, and then in China he was getting a lot of money, but he was not really playing much. Then he came back for Boca for romantic revisit. But yeah, what a player! Fantastic player. Never really fulfilled his true potential. For even Argentine national team, he was not really scored. He didn't score much. He had a lot of chances. He never scored really much. But never doubt in terms of skill is probably one of the best that came out of Boca Juniors. Anything else to add on to Carlos Tevez or anything else, or his legacy?
Nothing much to add from my side actually.
Okay. In that case, we probably want to wrap it up. But I did saw other under 23 games, and this under 23 team of Argentina looks fairly solid, and they have quite a bit of talent, and it would be interesting to see some of them coming up as well. And I quite like the coach, Fernando Batista. I think he's done very well, unlike the head coach of the main team, the senior team. He has done quite a bit of work, and I think it would be a very interesting team to see in Olympic. And I was thinking, if I was on his shoe, would I call, because on that under 23 team you can have 3 overage player, and he has only one, that is goalkeeper Jeremy Ledesma of Cadiz. He's the only older player who's 24 or 5, I can't remember, but if I had the option to take Paulo Dybala, probably I would have taken that.
Well, yeah, that could happen. Like he's not playing for the main team, so why wouldn't he?
Yeah, and then I was thinking that, but I still think they prefer on that team Thiago Almada a lot. They want to give him that scope. So that's another young Argentine bunch of players are coming in, at least 2 or 3. I can't still believe that Ezequiel Barco is still on Atlanta United. He should have been in Europe. He's very, very talented. And there will be some very interesting faces and teams, not just Argentine, but overall in the world. But that's another things to be seen if that Olympic do go ahead, given that Japan situation with the COVID and everything. Everything is in the not really certain. So on that note, I probably wrap it up, unless you have anything else to add.
No, not
Okay.
actually. I'm empty.
That's totally fine. We'll keep enjoying some of the games, and we'll definitely talk again. Until then, thank you. And I'd like to say to our viewers, in case they're watching, if anyone is watching, please encourage us through liking, sharing, and subscribing. And at certain points we'd like to interact with you as well. If you just throw some of the questions, you can throw it in the our YouTube page or email that we'll be providing in the link, as well as in our Facebook page. We'll try to reach out to our Twitter friends as well as Instagram. But yeah, again, it depends on the time and the interest of the people. Thank you again. You have yourself a great week, and we'll talk back again.
Yeah, you too.
Thank
Bye.
you.